Hey ladies and gentlemen, Richard Core Kenobi here, and I'm back again for another reaction, and today we are reacting to the Watcher of the 2000s Top 10 Best Samurai Jack Episodes. Now, before I get into that, you're probably asking, who is the Watcher of the 2000s? Well, he's a great YouTuber. He's currently on hiatus right now, but he basically does reviews and top 10s of your favorite cartoons while he has his own storyline going. And it should be noted that he does these in an animated, sort of hand-drawn form, and it really is good. I love seeing these. The storyline is called Project 13, and it's very good. I love how he is able to mix his reviews into what's going on with the story. And yeah, so this is very old. Now, the reason I'm doing Samurai Jack related things, well, is because, of course, Samurai Jack is coming back. You know, it's coming back to TV. It is my favorite Cartoon Network show of all time, right next to Teen Titans and Code Lyoko. These three shows were one of my top three favorites of the early 2000s. And yes, I had other ones too, but these three always were the ones I looked forward to watching the most. And I am so glad that the show is coming back for a fifth season. Genndy Tartakovsky is going to be working on it. He answered some questions. The art will most likely be the same, and it will just be amazing. And oh my goodness, it's just going to be so great. And I am really excited. So yeah, so if you want to go check out the Watcher's channel or original video, I will leave a link down below in the description. I apologize if I'm tongue-tied. I'm just very excited. So, yes, so with all that said, let's go ahead and watch this. And please note that I will be doing at least 3 Samurai Jack related things. This is one of them, and the other two, well, I'd rather not say, but you'll see. Alright, let's do this.
Hey, did everyone have a good Valentine's Day? I know I did. Okay,
Yes.
Wayne, this is easy. Just knock.
Yeah,
over
this
the
is
bouquet
very
and
old.
say, Happy Valentine's Day, Rose. Can we go out on a date? Alright, let's do this. Today. Nope. What a wonderful day. Anyway, after my great success. Oh my god, why am I so stupid? I had a sudden craving for more Genndy Tartakovsky, so I decided, how about I look at his other series, Samurai Jack? Samurai Jack premiered in 2001 as a new action, sci-fi, fantasy, cyberpunk, chanbara, sword and sorcery comedy drama series about a badass, foolish, nameless samurai with a magic sword fighting the great demon, Aku. The series stood out for its highly stylish nature with an emphasis on atmosphere, depicting long scenes of walking and randomly changing the aspect ratio for cinematic effect. That's a good way to describe it. Very cinematic. The plots were simple and the animation phenomenal. It's one of the less commercial and more artsy cartoons of the 2000s decade. Today, I want to count down my top 10 favorite episodes of the series. Everyone, feel free to share yours. I love to see the opinions of fellow fans. I don't really have any plans to review this series because I just gave it and I wouldn't be able to say much more, other than the noticeable fact that the series had almost no bad episodes.
It's true.
It was strange that there was no decline in episode quality as the seasons went on, like many shows I've reviewed.
Nope.
I also want to do a different transitional video, because Will.i.am became a giant hack between 2001 and now,
Aw.
so I don't want to listen to him. So here, a mini AMV.
Well, I like Will.i.am, but that's okay. It's his opinion.
Number 10. Jack vs. Demongo the Soul Collector.
Yes.
I found Demongo to be one of the most memorable characters in all of Samurai Jack. Basically, the episode is that Aku sends Damongo his most powerful minion to dispose of Jack. Damongo's thing is he animates magical skulls to be powerful warriors he's defeated. The thing about fighting Damongo that stood out to me is that this is one of the only opponents that could not just be overwhelmed in a very straightforward manner. Damongo seemed every bit as unbeatable as Aku would be to anyone who didn't have a holy sword. Imagine one of those endless boss fights in a video game that would continue that way if you didn't figure out the boss's weakness. Damongo is also quite a bit more cowardly and intelligent than most of the opponents Jack faces. I guess that's what made him memorable, just how slimy he was, even more so than his master. This is one of the only instances where Jack's mortality shows a lot more than usual. Damongo's minions tire him out, and Jack had to beat him unconventionally. And Damongo's comeuppance is awesome and hilarious.
Oh, master, please forgive me.
No. Number 9. Jack and the Scotsman.
Yes.
Jack's a badass. We all know this. But what happens when you put him in an episode with someone equally badass? Well, in comes the Scotsman. Jack's quiet, humble, and normal-sized. The Scotsman is loud, brash, and huge. He doesn't have a name, and technically Jack doesn't either. But both of them have a magic sword, know how to use them, and are the most wanted men in the world. Behind Blue Morpheus, Jack, and Jack's father, Scotsman is still one of the most badass characters in the series.
Yes.
Is that the best you can do?
The two square off in a sword fight in the first act, and it goes on for a long time.
Prepare to meet your doom.
And then it becomes a forced alliance episode where the two gradually learn to respect each other, and the chemistry of the two foils is amazing.
Arrow relies on the bow relies on the arrow, but they are not tied together.
That would be pointless now, wouldn't it?
I love the forced alliance plots. They're always entertaining to watch. It's great to see these two kick ass at the very end with a newfound friendship. And this is one of the few times where characterization carries an episode and does it well. Also, the battle against the alligator and pigmen bounty hunters is cool too. Jack and the Scotsman is an excellent example of how to write an effective foil. Number 8. Samurai vs. Ninja and Jack in the Haunted House.
Yes.
These two are both on the list. The first one is about Jack being hunted by a ninja, and the other is about Jack in a haunted house. The reason these episodes are bunched together is because they both have the same episode highlight that put them here. Atmosphere and a highly stylized climactic battle scene. In Samurai vs. Ninja, Jack has to face off against a mysterious stealth ninja. That isn't that special for this series until the climax, where Jack completely dressed in white and the ninja completely in dark. So, we see a cool high-contrast battle that's one of the most creative uses of visuals I've seen in animation and shows exactly the advantages of the animated medium. In Jack in the Haunted House, the majority of the episode is Jack dealing with creepy paranormal stuff in a scary-ass house. Good use of horror here. Then the final act of the episode is Jack fighting the demon haunting the house in a mysterious nightmare realm that's all grainy and in Asian calligraphy style. This episode is actually more unique, but it doesn't take the place over Samurai vs. Ninja because this climactic battle isn't quite as good. The one in Samurai vs. Ninja very clearly has a time limit with the sun setting, which adds to the drama, and better musical cues.
That's true. Oh.
Also, it's great that neither of the battles have any dialogue at all. So, between Samurai vs. Ninja and Samurai vs. Inky Wolf Demon Thingy, it's a tie. They're both great.
Yep.
Number 7. The Scotsman Saves Jack. Hey look, the Scotsman's back. This duo of episodes are his spotlight. The main plot is that Jack has mysteriously lost his memory, and now speaks like a surfer dude who says his name is Brent. The Scotsman meets him on a ship and tries to have him discover his old self again, now treating Jack as his best buddy. Scotsman beats up a dragon-looking thing with a punch, quotes Star Wars.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy, and the crab cakes aren't bad either. Ugh, gross.
And, as a nice touch, at one point when he unsheaths his sword, he puts Jack in the sheath. Eventually they sail out. Then in part 2, they get to uncharted waters and fight deadly sirens. You'd think that this would end once Jack gets his memory back, but the guys the Scotsman hired just leave them, so in a very unconventional episode structure, the last 10 minutes of the episode is Jack and the Scotsman competing for who should row the boat back home. It's amusing that there isn't enough plot in here to fill 2 whole episodes, but Genndy, being the pioneer he is, decided he was just going to say screw it. It works because it's unexpected, and still entertaining to see the foils get back together for a little friendly competition. Number 6. The Tale of X9. So what happens when you look at the viewpoint of a robot Jack casually kills? In film noir, completely in narration. You get one of the oddest episodes of the series, The Tale of X9. It stars X9, an assassin robot that was built with a personality chip because his creator was a troll.
He was funny that way.
Among his designers were Dr. Wily, Dr. Eggman, and Hitler, after letting himself go. Yo, Adolf, I know you're a vegetarian and all, but you gotta cut back on the eclairs. All the other robots of his model were destroyed because they didn't have a proper will to live. That was the advantage of his personality chip. He got to retire, and he took care of a cute dog, Lulu. Sweet thing. One day, Aku kidnaps Lulu and forces X9 to try to kill Jack. And a good half of the episode is a framing story. The other half is a very dramatic and atmospheric face-off X9 has against Jack. And you know he's not going to win, because he's not the hero. That's what makes this fight, and by extension, entire episode tragic as well. This is one of the most emotional episodes of the series, and it creates an image of a character we've never seen before, and will never see again, and without dialogue either. The Tale of X9 is just so well constructed. Also, the episode has a jazz soundtrack. Number 5, Jack and the Zombies.
Yes.
This episode features Jack walking through a creepy-ass haunted graveyard, directed there by Aku. So yeah, Jack fights zombies. That doesn't seem too special? Well, I'm always a sucker for a guy who kills the undead with a melee weapon. That takes balls. So this episode stands out because of that. The other thing that makes this episode stand out is that Jack loses his sword to Aku, and we experience what it's like to fight Aku without a weapon that can harm him. That is, fear. The zombies already added an abnormally scary environment since Jack usually fights robots, but when Aku comes in, and for the first time in like forever, he's actually intimidating, especially near the end, where he turns into a black mass of horror. What makes Aku's fighting entertaining is his unique style. He constantly shapeshifts and is often a mass of evil black goo, and the shapeshifting is creative. The fights are always entertaining. The action scenes in this episode really make it one of the best. It's so exciting, well choreographed, high staked, dangerous. Killing zombies is awesome. Horror elements are awesome. Jack running and fighting Aku is awesome. I don't know how to further describe why this is one of the best episodes. It simply is for the action appeal. Number 4, Aku's Fairy Tales. So I do try to lean towards drama for Samurai Jack, but sometimes it's nice if an episode is uproariously funny. The plot is that Samurai Jack became a folk hero towards children for resisting Aku. So Aku decides to tell self-glorifying and Jack-slamming fairy tales in order to win them back. Noticeably, they all resemble fairy tales we know. Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, The Frog Prince, Humpty Dumpty, The Shining, you name it.
It was big, bad Jack. Little pig, open up and let me in.
Not by the hairs of our chinny chin chin.
Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'm coming in. Here's Jackie.
Oh my god.
Mako, as a voice actor, shows off how over-the-top and fun he is as a narrator when he plays Aku to say these ridiculous things.
He's Jackie. Great flaming eyebrows.
In his stories, even the calm and reserved Jack becomes over-the-top.
Oh yeah, horrid.
Yeah, as a writer, Aku likes to marry Sue, and that's not cool. What kind of person does that? Anyway, this is probably the most quotable episode, and it's clear Mako was having so much fun. This episode seems to be the one that set the stage for him being funny, because after this episode, Aku's threatening traits do take a bit of a backseat to him being silly. It's especially funny when he's losing his patience and he pulls out all stops.
There was an almighty, all-powerful wizard, and there was a pathetic little samurai, and the wizard destroyed him. The end.
An episode of relentless fun, Aku's Fairy Tales is really a blast. Number 3, The Beginning, the samurai named Jack, and the first fight. Can I put 3 episodes on a spot? Of course I can. These 3 episodes were from the original premiere, and they really tell a great and epic story.
Yeah.
In fact, in terms of scale and the battles, this one was more epic than almost any animated film or series I saw as a kid. The only thing that competes would be Dragon Ball Z and retroactively Justice League.
Yeah.
Even those series don't match up to the scales of this narrative. And where else were you going to see blood in a Y7 children's series besides DCAU and DBZ?
That's true.
These 3 episodes are probably the most unrestrained in terms of visuals. Aku's got no jokes here. He is played completely straight. It's effective.
You monster, be quiet. Sorry, my lord. The boy is young and foolish. He does not know what he says.
The boy will return. He will learn proper respect for Aku in the pit of hate.
All things considered, this was one of the best pilots I've ever seen. When I saw this when I was like 6, I thought this was so cool and graphic, and then now, I think it's a miracle that this got picked up.
Yeah.
It does show that this series probably wanted to start as a drama with very little humor to it, and that after the Cartoon Network executives saw it, they said, needs more comedy if you're going to keep going. This really is the premiere that got every one of us in the mood for the series. This was the most memorable series premiere of my childhood.
Same here.
So, the plot to these 3 episodes is that the demon Aku has returned after a few decades of being inactive, and the Emperor has his wife escape with his son with a divine sword that can hurt Aku. The son trains for somewhere between 15 to 20 years with people of all cultures to become the most amazing man in the universe, then returns home to defeat Aku. Very touchingly, he reunites with his father beforehand. As we know, he doesn't finish off Aku before being sent into the future. There, some guys start calling him Jack when he lands.
We never got your name.
Jack was out.
Jack. Yo, Jack.
They call me Jack. A group of dog archaeologists who were enslaved by Aku explain that Aku has taken over the whole Earth and opened up galactical trade. Aku, upon discovering that the samurai has arrived, unleashes his army of beetle robots. The last part is Jack preparing with the dogs and battling the robot army. At the start, Jack holds them off well, but eventually he gets dirty. Then we have some of the most memorable and graphic shots of the series, with Jack drenched in the blood of his enemies, the enemies he crushed. Though there are no women he can hear the lamentations of.
Now that was smashing! A real bang-up job!
The premiere set the perfect stage for the series, and though it didn't get to stay this tenacious towards samurai movies, the series took this and worked with it hard. Number 2. The Birth of Evil.
Oh,
The Birth of Evil, the
here we
2-part
go.
origin episode of Aku and Jack's father. You need something more epic in scale than the first 3 episodes? Go for The Birth of Evil. Samurai Jack usually doesn't follow a 3-act structure of beginning, middle, and end. It's generally a 2-act structure, atmospheric build-up, and one major action scene. Yeah, apparently all the gods people believed in before the Judeo-Christian one all existed and teamed up to kick the asses of Lovecraftian horrors. If that doesn't make you giggle with badass glee, well, you probably aren't into Samurai Jack anyway. So, one little speck of the darkness lands on Earth during the Age of the Dinosaurs and kills them all. Bye-bye, Sarah. Say hi to Littlefoot's mom for me. We slowly get build-up because for now, Aku is just a liquidy black malevolent substance with no consciousness. The Emperor of Japan uses a magical arrow that was supposed to destroy the Black Goo, and instead, it gives Aku life.
Oh.
And Aku ties the Emperor to his Tree of Evil to watch as the demon lays destruction to Japan.
Oh.
The Emperor is rescued by the gods and given a divine sword of goodness and the flying Nimbus Cloud to go fight Aku. What we have here is first excellent build-up, showing Aku at his most terrifying. Initially as a destructive force of nature before becoming a force of evil. And Aku being played straight here is horrific with the acts he commits. I swear, the future mellowed him out. Then second, the battle between the Emperor and Aku that most of the first episode built up is absolutely worth it. And it manages to one-up the last part of the premiere with the Beatles. Aku cycles through so many forms. Dragon, spider with giant mouth, no seriously, what the hell is that? And finally he turns into an army of possessed samurai armor suits. What really makes this fight work is that the Emperor gets tired. He's mortal, but damn he's devoted and strong-willed.
Yeah. Ooh. Yes.
As an episode of Samurai Jack, The Birth of Evil is the most cinematic, dramatic, and largest in scale and time frame. Simply breathtaking. Number 1. Jack Under the Sea.
Well,
This
that's
is
a
an
good
odd
one.
number 1 choice. I don't even think this is the best episode of the series. The Birth of Evil is almost definitely the most well-constructed episode. This is just my personal favorite. I am a fan of the sea in animation, and this episode is actually one of my favorite depictions of it. I like it better than Ponyo even. So the main plot is that Jack hears rumors of an undersea race called the Triceratops, who supposedly have a time machine. Jack decides to sail out to find them. His ship sinks, but he's saved by a freaky, but also really cool, transparent fish transport. Jack sees the beauty of the sea and the Triceratops city, as well as the company. One of them is Jess Harnell, who uses his wacko voice.
Congratulations on surviving your journey.
So these guys are like Gungans, but way less annoying. Aku made a deal with them to trap Jack so the creatures may return to the surface. But then when Aku fails to uphold his end of the deal, there's a huge all-out assault against the Dark God. This episode really emphasizes the scenery porn, and more so the beautiful soundtrack this series has. The underwater theme sounds a lot like the theme I'm playing right now. Hell, I bet if I put this music to a bunch of the scenes, we'd get a similar effect.
It's so beautiful. Yeah, they do sound similar.
Aku's musical motif stands out a lot more in this episode compared to the normal peaceful ocean soundtrack from before, almost as a twisted take on that music. The battle with Aku at the end is pretty dramatic as well. He destroys an entire army and city, and the shot Jack gets at him is satisfying as hell. Really, my love for this episode comes down to personal appeal to the art decisions. I like long, drawn-out shots of the ocean. I love it when people fight Aku. That's both of the 2 acts of the story right there. This episode is one of the only cases in the series where the first act manages to overshadow the second, and it was so good that I like it even more than The Birth of Evil. For that, this is my favorite episode of the series. So those were my top 10 Samurai Jack episodes. Do you agree? Think I'm wrong? Have your own thoughts? Think I'm a sexy beast? Share your opinions. I'd like to know. Now excuse me. I have to go to the library. I want to borrow The Last Samurai.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Those were good episodes. I liked them. And let me know down in the comments below which one of those did you like. But until then, if you enjoyed this reaction, please like, comment, and subscribe. And until then, this is Richard Kenobi saying, may the Force be with you. Later, guys.